Hi, I'm Chris Leatham, and this is The Economy and You. And today's guest is George Del Barrio. And George, today's show is all about the psychology of internet marketing or social media marketing. And I think it's going to be an interesting show. Last week we talked a little bit about social media marketing. It was sort of social media marketing 101. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about social media, but more about the psychology, some of the tools that are available in social media. And I think it's worth watching. So if you're watching, stay tuned. I'd like to introduce George Del Barrio. George, nice to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah. So I'm going to take these glasses off because they're really designed for reading and I don't need to read. So, yeah.
Sign language is good. Sign language is good.
Yes. So, George, you have a social media marketing company. What's the name of your company?
It is PMG International. It's
Okay.
been here for almost 12, 13 years. I've been in the mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you get into sort of social media marketing? How did you sort of find that as a career path?
Oh, really? Actually, it was a derivative of an industry I was part of before in the record industry, movie, film, TV, writing music, and producing music. When the internet decompressed the business model of the record industry, it was the first catastrophic business fail, billion-dollar fail of an industry that obviously didn't read the book, Who Moved My Cheese?
Uh-huh.
And,
that's a good book.
Right, you know.
Yeah.
And so seeing the opportunity, what the internet was bringing way before MySpace, you know, like Friendster days kind of thing, in helping indie acts blow up on the internet, which was still only just a few years new. I myself made a professional move reading the writing on the walls, and the fact that I did read Who Moved My Cheese, I said, I'm gonna come home and hang out with Mom, and I'll build my little studio out here, and I could see a change in the industry. So I came here, and through the beginning 2000s, I spent a lot of time kind of developing, watching how the internet was developing.
Yes.
How search engines was developing, and then started testing and started trying things, and then I started on my own studying like human behavioral physics and stuff, and one thing led to another, led to another, led to another, and I went, hey, I can make some money at this. You know, just kind of a fun thing.
And you still write music, though. You still
I'm still very active in the industry.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just, you know, the social media thing is I use the same skills. You know, if I'm orchestrating music for film or TV or something, the same orchestrating skills I use just on a technological level to, you know, help my clients do what they need to on the internet.
Okay, so how do, when you meet with a client, we're talking a little bit about the psychology, so when you meet with a client, what are some of the sort of the key things that you try to address, or key concerns that you have when you're working with a new client?
I think one of the most important things that I try to focus on is, you know, the direction that I take using social media is purely organic. So what I try to do is in a nutshell, I try to pull the cool out of the business. I try to pull the story out of the business. I try to pull some of the awareness and the passion out of the business, repurpose that into content on many different levels, and then distribute it through social media. And that was my 30-second breakdown on how I approach it, but that's the most important thing that what I do. Because like you said, the psychological aspects of social media dictates that if you put out content and say, hey, I'm the best, my product is this, if it's not me, it's somebody else, you better watch out. That whole anxiety 30-second compressed marketing syndrome from TV traditional days, because you only had 30 seconds to say a message, is completely gone, decompressed, and it's now more about the end user having 15 different options to buy the same exact kind of cup.
Right.
Well, why should I buy yours?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
You know,
one of the things when we grew up is that we had, like, where I lived, we had 3 channels. ABC, NBC, CBS, that was pretty much it. And then there may be a couple of local channels, but, you know, there weren't a lot of options. Today, of course, we've got so many more options available to us. So it would seem to me that one of the key things is over time that you really need to develop a relationship with your customer. And that is going to be the imperative going forward, that businesses are really focused on building long-term relationships as opposed to just sort of, for example, when email first came out, people were just blasting stuff onto the internet. And people were getting all kinds of spam emails, and it became very troublesome. Yeah. And it was an annoyance because it wasn't really about building a relationship. It was really just focused on, hey, here's something, buy it, you know. And of course, then we came up with spam filters and everything else. But email marketing, is that still a viable option in the sort of in the realm of social media marketing?
I think before I answer that question, do you have a bulletproof vest? And some people are probably going to shoot me with this. Email marketing is very sensitive to the way I approach things. There are people who make a wonderful living doing that, and for some people it does work very well. It is much lower in my arsenal of marketing tools. There's always the end game. What is the end game? Get them to your website where your product, service, information is, whatever it is that you are putting out there. Conceptually, the funnel syndrome is if you have a squeeze page or something to get them to always sign up for something.
Now, what's a squeeze page? You just used a term. What's a squeeze page?
It's one of those pages, let's say you go to a self-help, you've clicked on something and it's a self-help kind of a pitch. The page is really long. It scrolls very long down, and it always has testimonies and buy now, you should get this now.
That's your social proof, right? That's
there are a lot of ways to measure your success and stuff. And you know, it's always about, if you go back to just marketing 101, it's always about getting people in. And then it starts filtering out, and then hopefully at the very bottom, the ones that come through all the way through is the smaller percentage of people that actually take action to buy something or goes to the next level. So email marketing is becoming a lot more complex. A lot of experience that I have is, you know, because of the filter changes in a lot of the mail clients, whether it's Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, if you haven't configured, you know, your mail client correctly, a lot of stuff gets stuck in junk mail. I think anybody who is doing email marketing is going to look at their dashboard and see how many people have opted out, how many emails were actually opened.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of work to email marketing and crafting that message. It's very intense. Not any more or less intense than a social media campaign. But I do believe there's still a place for it. But I think that, in my personal opinion, and I stress that's my personal opinion, because I don't have a bulletproof vest on, that more and more companies are kind of loosening their must-have email campaign attitude. They still have it as part of it, but it's not the primary anymore.
It's not the primary. So, you know, one of the pushbacks I've had on social media marketing is that business people have said to me, well, they've spent a lot of money on it, but they really haven't seen the outcomes that they were looking for. And I don't know if that's because there's sort of impatience or there's like this sort of need for immediate gratification when they spend money for social media marketing. Or they're not, you know, they're not taking a strategic approach to it, or if they're just not doing it well. But that seems to be some of the pushback that I have gotten when it comes to social media marketing. I, on the other hand, get very excited when I see all the sort of weird and wonderful tools that are available today. Especially Facebook has some great tools available. LinkedIn, Twitter. You know, people who seem to be really good at knowing how to use Twitter seem to be able to draw attention to their service or their product or their value, so sort of their value offering, their value proposition. But I guess when you talk about the psychology of social media marketing, I mean, what are the sort of the things that you're looking at when you're talking to or you're trying to reach that audience? What are some of the key things that you're focusing in on?
God, that's a loaded question. That in and of itself could take 45 minutes to answer. It has everything to do with, I think that to answer the first part of your question is ROI. Welcome to the world. Look up right now ROI in social media and you will see a lot of frustration. What's happened is because of these great tools that we have in social media that any small business can use, we're all out there using it, whether we do it ourselves, we pay a couple $1,000s to somebody to handle and stuff like that, and then the leads maybe trickled in, nothing much happened. Welcome to the world of advertising. Because back in the day of traditional, ask any ad agency, ask any marketing consultant or anything like that, you work on something, you feel good and passionate, this is gonna work, and if the timing isn't correct, or if the media buy wasn't correct, or nobody just wants pineapple-shaped purple slippers and you just have to face the facts, you know, there is no guarantee. I say this to every client I work with. Somehow they still cut me a check though. But there is no guarantee that what I'm going to do is bringing them anything. The only thing I can guarantee in my work or any, and if anybody was to use this that's in my business, is that if done correctly, social media will fortify a digital footprint. You become somebody in the story of a search engine. That, if done correctly, anybody who does what I do, do what I do? Did I say that right? Do what I does do.
That's great.
Will understand that. So if you do build a click and mortar company's campaign with social media that has nothing, and you strategize all the social media properties, you're strategizing releasing content, video, and all that sort of stuff, then what you do is you're fortifying a digital footprint so that when somebody searches the individual's particular business with a geotag, if it's targeted as a zip code or a city or something, that you are now somebody, which, believe it or not, is still a huge hole out there. I think it would be. I think there should be some due diligence in every business model to spend a couple $1,000s to fortify that digital footprint, and because if you don't, somebody else is going to. And since we are phone zombies now, heads down, cell phones, we're searching, we're using different tools. Yeah, we're full of phone zombies.
That's true, yeah.
If you're not there, somebody else is going to be there, and that's going to make or break not a sizable percentage, but 1 or 2 customers a day, or 1 or 2 customers an hour, or a few customers a month. If somebody just finds that website before yours and you're not there.
Right.
And the most important thing, this is the single most important thing about everything that I do, and it's called Evergreen Content.
Evergreen Content.
Evergreen Content. That's why when I work with clients, I try to pull the story from them. Why did you decide to buy 3 acres and grow coffee beans? What's the story behind it? What is evergreen? Evergreen means forever, which means that story lasts forever.
Okay.
So when you put that out there, and it's a story about why you, in this hypothetical client, why you decided to do what you do, then all of a sudden, it's there constantly for a marketing tool that other people market for you, which is very important what I do. How do I develop collateral so that somebody else talks about you for you?
Yeah, that makes good sense. One of the things having just run for office is that there were people we would put out tweets.
I'm sorry. Running for office is the single most difficult thing. I know it was a good learning experience.
It was a great learning experience,
yes,
and I made so many new friends, and it was wonderful in so many ways. But one of the aspects of that was learning to put out tweets or content that other people found interesting and would retweet or would push out on other websites, and that I thought that was a really great skill to develop. And so when we talk about this type of thing, though, you've got business-to-business solutions and you've got business-to-consumer solutions. What are some of the different ways that these two types of campaigns might differ in terms of the type of footprint that you're creating?
Strategically, actually, it's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Because I was just brought into the loop I'm in conversation with a major company out here that is B2B. They distribute something. They have these other people who are giving the distributor's product to distribute to the other businesses. And what we're talking about is utilizing the same exact tactics that I do, is putting together videos on how to use the products that the vendors could end up taking advantage of. So what does that do is it brands the point of distribution, which would be my possible client, as a person that is providing solutions to the wholesale provider of the content to the distributor, because that's doing due diligence to them.
Right.
We're going to produce these things to help your product function when the vendors decide to buy, I don't know, spices. How would I use these spices? And then the vendor goes, whoa, check this out. This guy just used the spices on some manapua and we thought it would be Tabasco and what? And all of a sudden it turned out to be great. Then that becomes part of collateral that the vendor gets to use when he markets the fact that he carries that spice.
Well, and you're also what you're trying to do is build critical mass too, because if you don't have enough, one of the things that we, when I worked for Intel, was that they had developed a new operating system that they were trying to push out. But unfortunately, they were never able to achieve critical mass to find enough programmers who were interested in coding against that platform. And so their platform never reached a point where there was adequate distribution, and ultimately it failed because they were unable to achieve that sort of critical mass. And it sounds like what you're doing is sort of ensuring that the vendors have the knowledge that they need to provide to the consumers because they're the ones that actually touch the consumers. So if they don't have that information, and they're unable to convey that information appropriately, the wholesaler doesn't have a chance.
Exactly. I call that resource programming. Some of the biggest leads that I get from my clients are not based on the product directly. Sometimes it's a how-to, which, if you want to go in that conversation, we know that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. How to change anything in your car, how to change diapers, how to fix anything. People now, I know there's mechanics who are charging 120 bucks an hour who are going, oh, hang on, yeah, I got the, okay, and they do it, but they do it. They know what they're doing. They have the tools, they know what they're doing. Sometimes you have to go outside of the box to get the information, which is fine. I do the same thing. Sometimes I have to stop and go, yeah, honey, I know how to fix the laundry. And I sit there and look, because there's an answer there. I think a really good example is going to be 1-800-AUTO-PARTS.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial, and we're going to come back. This is a great place to stop, but we'll come back to this because I think you got a great example to use. Okay. I'm Chris Leatham. This is The Economy and You. Thank you for watching. I think this is turning out to be a fairly interesting show, and look forward to seeing you, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Hi, I'm your host on ThinkTech Asia, Bill Sharp. I look forward to you joining us each Monday between 4 and 5 o'clock when we film right here in our studio in downtown Honolulu. The show, ThinkTech Asia, focuses on contemporary events in Asia. And by Asia, we mean anything from Hawaii, south to Australia and New Zealand, west to Pakistan, and as far north as the Russian Far East. Clearly, this is one of the most economically dynamic centers of the world, and we bring you up to date on what's going on in a whole host of countries in this very vital region. We look forward to seeing you. Aloha.
Hi, this is Chris Leatham, and this is The Economy and You, and we're back. And our guest today is George Del Barrio. George, we just left off talking about your example of the 1-800-AUTO-PARTS when we talk about social media marketing. Go ahead.
I think a really excellent platform, as an example, is 1-800-AUTO-PARTS. Now, I've been doing this for my clients for a long time, but sometimes you just have to show an example of another industry getting it.
Well, it's a user story, right? It makes a point.
So what happens is I type in, because my daughter has, really it's mine, I say it's my daughter, but I got an old bus-up Nissan. So I wanted to change the actuator inside my window. I was like, all right, let me look. Put in the year, the car, the make, and all that, and I went, bang! There's a few of them. Some of them are, handheld stuff you can't, but one was kind of decent. It was done by 1-800-AUTO-PARTS. That is their loss leader to get you in as a feel-good campaign on a video to show you how to fix this. Even though I did support local economy and I went to the auto store and I bought the parts from here, at the end of the day, when I did put in the actuator in my car, because 1-800-AUTO-PARTS made that video, and I realized, hey, I can fix this, I can do things. I started looking for other little things to fix, and I ordered a couple dollars worth of parts from 1-800-AUTO-PARTS. Oh. And that stimulated me as a end user to buy something. What are we giving somebody to understand what we do, or why and how are we going to compel people to feel just a little closer to us as a brand or a product? I don't care what it is. Lomi massage all the way to politicians.
So this is sort of problem solution. Problem solution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What does the search engine do?
It looks for solutions to your problems.
Absolutely.
That's what we're doing, right?
Help me find something.
Sure, absolutely.
So if you're not there to help them in some way, shape, and form, give them an answer to something, then you're going to get lost in the mix unless somebody does a direct search for you and your business.
Well, and that sort of, when you look at Google's whole business concept, they're not there to promote business. They're there to find you the best possible answer to the question that you've posed the search engine. Business or not, they're looking for the best answer. When you can provide that solution, and you've built that out, and you've made the commitment to put those resources forward, that's what Google is trying to do. And they're sort of agnostic about whether it's a business solution or not, right? In fact, I think they even put EDU sites up higher. They're given more credibility than organizational sites or business-related sites because they're considered purely there to provide useful content. And sort of that may not be true in every case, but that tends to operate that way. You know, and then of course now when you're talking about creating content and the timeliness of content, what are some of the resources that you've utilized in the past to sort of help you figure out when it's the right time to put content out, when people are ready to receive it?
That is very unique unto each client.
Is it?
When I've been working in the past with politicians and stuff, obviously there's a different mandate and timing and releasing what. That becomes a whole different game. If you watch The Good Wife, you know the little squirrely guy who's always conniving and the manager of the, you know, there's always that. And for for every manager of politicians out there, you know, I didn't quite mean it like that. But you know, there's a lot of you know, watch, wait, drop it here. Okay, now, you know, this kind of stuff. A little different than, let's just say, somebody who provides a service to help you get better at something. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the #1 content that I use right now, I've been using for years, along with keyword strategies, keyword phrases, et cetera, and keeping in check and balance with Google's changes in their filters and their algorithms, which I don't know.
That's a whole other conversation. There's so many other filters and
that's
there's just tons of them now.
Is video. Mm-hmm. To understand part of the psychology of social media, I've got research that the heads down complex, which is phone zombies, you know, we're like this.
Right.
Well, you know, what's the action behavior of phones? I usually open this up.
Oh, there's our phone zombies.
Oops, sorry, phone zombies. Yeah, you got our phone zombies. I usually open this up that I've got my marketing in your pants, because when I do my keynote, because most people will carry your cell phone in your shorts, in your pockets and stuff, women in their purses or whatever they carry.
Yes.
So now marketing is accessible to you all the time.
Right.
The behavior standing in a line at a coffee shop and going like this while waiting for, these are all very important behaviors. And when I do what I do, you know, it's an old thing now, you always got to post a picture, you got to, you know, psychographically catch the eye.
Right.
You know, it's always the furry cat fumbling over yarn that drops into a pool that seems to get the millions of views, but not the one that is, hey, here's a really cool thing that's, you know, how to build, you know. So it's
how to fix your actuator in your windshield.
Exactly, exactly. Video's
that's
#1.
Not necessarily the one I would go to, you know.
Yeah, video's #1 because people want to see. We are hyper ADD now. We're not reading a lot of things. When the internet first started and all that, we had nice, you know, article size stuff. Then the blogging and microblogging. Why is Twitter so important? Because, or I'm sorry, so popular. It's because bite-sized chunks of information that you can get, because we're multitasking. Our brain's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. We are being distracted constantly.
Are we retraining our brain? I mean, over
we
time,
are as old people.
What's that?
We are as old people, but the younger, my sister, my daughters, who are in their 20s.
They're native to the technology. They're in it.
My granddaughter, a year and a half, is already going into my phone and breaking into my password, and she knows which one to hit. And as a species, we are changing based on technology. We, our age, the 30-plussers,
yes,
we're going through a bit of our own retraining because we have to learn. We watch, we keep up, you know, what's going on. Mm-hmm. My granddaughters, all 3 of them.
It's all intuitive for them.
It's all intuitive.
Wow, that's amazing.
And so technology in itself is actually changing some of our human behavior, how we respond to things.
Oh, sure, and we're becoming a little bit more savvy too, because you know, when we look at things, you know, we're sort of a little cluier about what we're looking at and whether it's something we really want to spend time, or do we want to click on that? And you know, one of the things that I've learned is when I'm sort of browsing the internet and I'm looking at images to click on, like looking at the design of that image, and I'm going, is that an image that's going to leave me on the site, or is that an image that's going to take me off the site? Is it really a video, or does it look like a video? I'm going to click on it, it's going to open up a web page, and then I got waited, and then I don't want to wait for it to download. You know, then I've lost my patience.
You're actually answering a lot of what is actually happening right now.
Yeah.
You know, getting what I call click-fed, which means they took a snapshot of a YouTube screen so it looks like it.
That's
their
right.
business model is to get you to their site so they can serve up 45 ads and get paid for it.
Oh.
So what's actually happened, ironically, is that the internet was supposed to be this place that was supposed to be, well, TV only gives me, you know, 6:30s during a break. That's all I have to deal with. With now, in today's environment, any end users up to hundreds, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of advertisements, depending on how busy you are on the computer.
Yeah.
You click on this, you go to another site, you watch the same exact video you can watch on YouTube, but what they do is they build page upon page upon page, and then they pump it through their social media sites, but they take a snapshot of it, they put it up, they do boost posts on Facebook, and you fire through. But even Facebook in and of itself now has become a completely different, it's a totally different beast. It's become the Sears and Roebucks of our generation.
Yeah, that's true. It's an amazing site, but you know, the tools that are available. Now, the thing is, the utilizing of these tools to do social media, you know, to go on there. I mean, as a user, I don't really use Facebook. I don't post. I go and check out what my daughters are doing. I know grandparents are checking out their grandkids. They go to Facebook. They have a Facebook account not because they're posting stuff. It just, they want to see what their grandkids are up to.
Yeah, it's parental lurking.
Yes, it is.
That's why all the kids have different profiles with different email addresses on Facebook. Yeah, Mom, I'm posting a few over here. Yeah, this is what we had for dinner.
They post the ones just for us, and then they've got other ones that they're posting for all their friends.
If they're even there at all anymore.
If
they're there anymore. You know, the thing is that Facebook now is a very powerful marketing audience, but mostly older.
Yeah.
Younger people, it's more, you think we're ADD. Their interest in being satisfied quickly with information has hyper sped hours out, if that made sense. So, you know, the Instagram thing. Why is Instagram so famous? I only had time to see a picture. I want to go here.
Instagram as Twitter for people who don't read, because it's all imagery.
Except for the, well, I heard the directors back there fussing up. That's good. Yeah, the bottom line is that it's just we're digesting content really fast.
Yes.
And I'm only interested in, oh, funny picture. Oh, a sunset, beautiful. Oh, somebody with their baby. Oh, nice. You know, and then the occasional, you know, goofball shot of something.
Yeah. And that's a lot of that sort of the entertainment factor. So you want to be entertained. You want information, but you also want to be entertained. But, you know, one of the things, a more serious subject that seems to be, I think it's a timely topic, is talking about brand reputation management. So I'd like to sort of move away from what we're talking about now, but let's talk a little bit about that, because that seems to be an area where there's a lot of change going on right now. Can you tell me a little bit about what you see happening in the world of brand management?
Brand reputation management's been around for a few years, probably a little longer than I know, because it's not fairly new to me. It's just something I didn't have to deal with until a few of my clients started going down that rabbit hole of other people's opinions, that, you know, which is anybody who's on Yelp.
Well, yeah, Yelp, and there's other sites like Yelp for doctors and lawyers.
Yeah, the doctors.
Yes.
They are getting their eyes opened up huge right now, doctors and dentists, because there is Rate Meds, there's Vitals.com. And it's even, you know, for me, it's a very unique thing. One of my first clients, is a firm, I still work for them in San Francisco, it's one of the largest property management firms. And nobody hates anybody more than the property manager of the apartment when the leak is leaking and the lights aren't working. You know, very different. So this guy's business is completely bombed with ones and horrible. You're going to take a percentage of that in that business. You know, there's always going to be somebody who's not satisfied in that business.
Well, and there are property managers that are really difficult to work with.
Absolutely. But one of the things that I have him doing, which is working out really good, is he responds to the ones that actually have value to respond to. And gosh, really sorry that this happened. I was not made aware of it. Please, you know, contact me. I will find a resolution. Then there are some that complain.
Within these sites, though, when there is resolution, does that person who sort of put out the nastygram on there?
Nastygram.
The nastygram.
Wow, there's a new .com right there. Hurry up, somebody here. Somebody go ahead and check that and see if that's available. Nastygram.com.
So anyway, when the nastygram has gone out and they want to, let's say they had their issue resolved, do they have a chance to respond and say, hey, you know what, I did post this, but the person did take care of it?
Every once in a while, you'll get a ratings update. You know, somebody will go back in and re-rate.
I mean, it would seem fair.
Fair? What? That's a four-letter word in the world of the internet. It is very difficult. Like I said earlier, with doctors and dentists, especially now, they have never had to go through this environment. They're the later half of the review site, you know, portals.
Okay.
Restaurants and other business models, because of Yelp, that's been around for a while. But the Rate Meds and the Vitals.com, all of a sudden, like any business, not every patient is going to like their doctor. And it's pretty heavy when you get a couple of likes, this is good, and then you might have two saying, misdiagnosis, or he wants me to take tests, or and the reality is that that's the patient's perception, perhaps, of what the doctor was saying, and there's an unsatisfied, and that's kind of that's a tough punch to the kidneys if you can't fix that. So what brand reputation management does, you can't fix Yelp.
Right.
You cannot fix rating sites. What you have to do is do the best you can to post strong, positive content.
So let's talk about this a little bit more. We're going to go to commercial because this is, I think, a very timely topic. This is Chris Leatham. This is The Economy and You. Today we're talking about the psychology of social media marketing, and we'll be right back. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on the ThinkTech Digital Series. The show is every Wednesday from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and I want you to watch this show because I think that when we talk with artists on the show about what they do, how they do it, and most importantly, why they do it, I believe that it resonates within each of us and we find something inside of ourselves that brings us closer to all of humanity. That's what arts are there to do, and that's what I'm here to do on this show. That's Center Stage. It's on every Wednesday from 2 to 3 o'clock. I hope to see you there.
Hi, this is Chris Leatham, and this is The Economy and You. Today we're talking about social media marketing. Right now we're talking about brand management or brand reputation management. Our guest today is George Barrio. And we were just talking about this topic, brand management. So I'll let you go ahead and continue on.
We can't, it's very difficult to battle what we call rating sites. Their indexing of content to search engines is very intense, which means traffic. What keeps certain sites in position when you do a query, do a search, has to do with engagement. How many people are going to the site?
That's right.
So by virtue, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are going to Zagat or Yelp. So they're always going to stay up there, even if it's searching your business. They're very powerful.
That's right.
You cannot beat them up. You cannot push them down. What you can do is do the best you can to put out as much positive content, because there's a morbid thing about rating sites, and I kind of, in testing this, when we go look at a rating,
right,
we have tendency to look for the number one and go,
we want the best, right? I mean, we want to look for the guy that's the best at what he does.
Exactly, but you always do kind of look for the one and see if somebody had really something crummy to say about this or whatever. And then, of course, the rest of them are 4s and 5s. You figure this one guy had a really bad day, and so he left, or maybe he did have a bad experience.
Sometimes when I read these reviews, they seem contrived. They don't seem as though they're actually written by a customer. Sometimes it feels like maybe they had their friends write it. It seems a little overly positive.
Sometimes. I mean, I know that Yelp's algorithm, they're filtering of their algorithm so that people don't bomb with negative or positives. It's pretty intense. If you notice at the very bottom of when you're on Yelp and you, let's say Yelp, a restaurant, you're going to say, you'll see something that says reviews. I think it's like reviews not showing or something like that. I forgot what it is. And if you click on it, then you'll find all the reviews that were filtered out by their algorithm. That could be bad, it could be good. Oh, okay. Because they might target it as like, oh, this person from this IP address is a repeat, what I call, comment bomber. So they penalize that IP address, and that everything that person puts in is going to end up into this filtered, non-viewable, unless you click here part of the site. So a lot of levels to play with. The most important thing to do is to understand the thing about Yelp and Zagat, maybe RateMeds and the others. Sometimes you take those lessons away. If the comment is consistent with the host, who always seems to be angry every time, and you see 4 or 5 of those, you start going, okay, I got a problem with my host or hostess. Seems that through the last 3 weeks, I've been having these same things. So maybe sometimes you look at that as a tool, going, okay, something needs to be fixed here, which I have done quite a few with some of my clients.
So in other words, if you are a company and you are looking at these sites, it can actually be something helpful for you in managing your business, because now you're getting feedback.
Absolutely, I am not a rating site hater.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me because, I mean, it's difficult, but it's also making me money in the sense of being an agency that does brand reputation management, because people get freaked out. They see a few bad things.
Sure.
I take a look at it, I evaluate it, and I give them their options.
That's right. And sometimes you even have things that people say about you as personally, not even that you're a business, that you're an individual, and you go online and you see negative comments about
Welcome
you.
to high school.
Yeah.
That's all we did, is we took high school and then we just added tech to it.
Yeah.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Yes. This is what I guess we would call internet madness today. So,
Internet madness.
talking about internet madness. Do we have any of those pictures that?
Internet madness. Well, it is. Once again, we're hyper. What is it? Yeah, we're hyper loaded with a lot of options, a lot of ways to treat our businesses, and using social media and marketing, using it for brand reputation management, using it for, well, unfortunately, there's a lot of great uses and there's a lot of sad uses of social media, as we watch from, you know, people who've been victimized by, you know, false Facebook pages opened up, websites. I mean, there's a lot of ways to
There's
really
a lot of ways to victimize people.
to victimize
Yes,
people.
yes,
You
yes.
just have to grow a thicker skin as an individual in this world when it comes to the internet. Someone is eventually doesn't like you and is going to say something about it.
Sure, sure. Is there, we have any more interesting images to bring up here? So let's talk about this for a little bit, the type of social media distribution.
Yeah, there's, you know, as you can see here, there's so many different ways that you can distribute your social media. Now remember, if you're looking at something like this, this is really for the person who has a marketing individual in their business model somewhere, somebody who's dedicated to this. As you can tell, this is nothing that you just casually look over and say, oh, great, I'm just going to put out some content and drop it here, here,
That's
here,
right.
here.
That's right. And you actually want to see what is the effect, or what is the value of utilizing sort of these different social media distribution points.
Exactly. One great thing about social media, using these different points too, it's a fantastic focus group testing environment. You can pre-spin content and stuff to see what is the response
Because the
like.
analytical tools are there.
Yeah.
That's what's great. You know, we used to spend money on the local newspaper advertising. Somebody'd sit down with us, we'd write out an ad. I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
We'd write out an ad, put it in the local paper, and you got whatever business you got. You really didn't know what, you know, didn't have much in the way of feedback as to who actually looked at it, or how many, and you saw maybe some people came into your store, but you weren't really able to convert that into buyers. Unless maybe you had a coupon or something like that.
It's identical right now. We opened this up with ROI. The bottom line is ROI with all these hours and work is it's easier to measure the traffic flow from a campaign as referrals. Anybody who does analytics understands, you know, how to check your referrals, watch how they travel through your site if you're using your Google Analytics or an analytics tool, you know, to its capacity. But at the end of the day, still, I don't care if you're going to do a $2,000 campaign on social media or a $50,000 campaign on TV. Timing, content, it doesn't change. It actually does not change. Timing, content, you know, does it stick? Is the story good? Traditional.
Well, TV content is a show, right?
Yeah.
It's like a TV show, or commercials are sort of. The purpose of the commercial or the TV show is so you'll stick around and watch the commercials, you know, because, you know, we talk about TV, you know, insulting your intelligence, but of course, you know, computers just sort of rub it in, especially when you start talking about social media marketing and analytics, right? But, do we have any more interesting pictures to put up, Zuri?
Do you take a lot of selfies?
No, I'm not a big selfie taker.
Okay.
Okay. Here's
This is an excellent graphic. This is excellent in, you know, there's always a percentage of error in this, but take a hard look at this, and kind of think about your own personal uses of your phone, and if you notice, this is strictly a mobile chart.
This is a mobile chart. Okay.
Yeah, because we're already going through the great disconnect, as I like to call it. I kind of coined that about 3 years ago, that we're going to go through 2 phases. One is called the Great Disconnect, and the next one's going to be the Campfire Complex.
Now, what is this? This is a photo of somebody.
This is a photo of somebody. This is a photo of probably everybody's dining room table, unless
Yes.
the father and the mother says, put all the phones in a bowl, we're going to have salad together, and quit finding out who
We're
cares.
going to actually have a conversation at the table. Wow.
Absolutely.
Who thunk that idea?
But this is where we are right now. Even right now, I'm kind of pinning, reaching for my phone, wondering if I got it because. But my
you feel a little naked without
I feel
it,
a
don't
little
you?
naked,
Yeah, I set it aside
you know?
over here. And now
I mean, how much longer before we have a little chip in here and we just start, you know, it's getting close because I got the watches to do. But you know, at the end of the day, the use of our mobile phones is number one. The future of any social media marketing should be really focused on mobile penetration.
Mobile penetration. And you were talking about selfies earlier, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have that photo of
everybody does a selfie.
This is who do we have here? We have
I don't know
Jesus
who
and
this
Mary
is.
taking a selfie.
Yeah, everybody does a selfie. You got to kind of wonder if that's what it might look like if. But we all, you know, I was going to do the organic development of the selfie as far as a graphic artist. I was going to have a graphic artist as an infant on all fours looking down at the camera like they do, and they play. And as they get older, they take shots like this, and then they get a little older, then comes the middle teenage selfie, and then the older we get, we take selfies higher and higher because we have more chins we want to hide.
Yeah, but then we have a bald spot.
Well, there's a different angle.
Oh,
so
no. What are we going to do?
There's even a dynamic to taking the right selfie at your age, you know, so it's, we're in a whole new world right now.
Yes,
it's exciting. I'm not an old guy going, oh, what's this world coming to, you know, it's extremely exciting for me, and I believe still we have a lot more to see coming around the corner.
And different countries, you know, culturally, we're using cell phones differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we go. Social penetration by country.
Yeah.
Look who's at the top of the list.
Gee, I wonder.
Ah.
But the reality is that as these countries, like I do a lot of surf trips in Central America, and also if you look at the cell phone purchase trend, and this is a no-brainer. Actually, anybody who's actually following technology could kind of see how this trend is of phone purchase. Now, if the phone purchasing is going to go up, that means
and
more,
smartphones especially, right? You know, not just the.
That means more of our environment as people who do social media marketing. We have to really concentrate on that hyper message that we can try to get through. Yes. But I want to say one thing about how it is I approach what I do. I cannot do a pitch to push.
A pitch to push.
A pitch to push. Buy this, do this now. We're the best. Hey, let's do this. All of the work that I do and that I focus on is organic. Because we all have the option to search 50 other places that sell the same thing.
That's right.
I just want to know, who am I going to give my money to? If I choose to give my money to you, is it because I like the way you speak on a video? Is it the way I liked you presented yourself? Do I feel comfortable giving you my money? And that's what really the angle I take.
So the reassurances.
All of it.
Are an imperative.
All of it. Every single one of my clients, anything I do for them. I just did a job with Martin and MacArthur.
Okay.
And what we did is the interview style.
They have a great business model, by the way.
Oh, Michael Tams is just a genius. He's phenomenal. And I'm not saying that because the check clears. I really do trust him. He's really good. No, but at the end of the day, what I did recently was an interview style video. Remember I said earlier, how can I produce content that help other people push your content for you?
Yes.
I did an interview about how do they get boards out of a piece of koa. And it was a very interesting video because I didn't even know.
I'm sure it is, because that's one of the things. When you walk in and you see what they have in there, you're sort of wondering, well, how did they get here from the raw material? And that's got to be a very interesting.
Yeah, and Michael,
I know I would watch
Michael came up with the idea alongside with myself. We talked about it, and we decided to pull the trigger. And now that is where my business model is starting. I have to constantly drift in social media because of what the other people might be doing in my business line and then how I want to go. In my case, the interview style now is becoming very important because we are voyeurs.
Yes.
We want to watch and learn.
That's right. And we still want information given to us in a sort of concise manner.
Yeah. And
it should be interesting. Yes.
And show me something too. I have a video right now. I'm going to say something that I'm really going to put myself out there. Oh, please, I hope it's still there. If you put in a Google search, whether it's on your phone or at whatever, golf tips. Okay? Anybody who's in this business knows those keywords are huge.
That's got to be huge, yes. 4
or 5 down on that search is a video, and that video says golf tips, how to hit your driver 300 yards.
Oh.
It's been in that position, watch, today's the day it'll disappear. It's been in that position for about 5 years.
Wow.
Over 3 million views, and it is showing you how to do something. It is giving you an answer. But the bottom line is I only open up with the gentleman's logo, close with the logo, and he doesn't do a pitch. He doesn't say, come to my website and do more. No, feel good. Then they go watch the next video. Oh, he's holding his club this way. Watch the next video. Oh, he's doing this.
But that's again, problem, solution, problem, solution.
And then they end up, if I track views versus click-throughs to the site versus DVD downloads, I'm at about 13%. So,
well, that's great. I learned a lot from you being here today. We're going to close out our show, and
okay.
I just wanted to say something to everyone out there since the holiday season is here. And when we're out shopping and we're thinking about the gifts that we can purchase for our family, but remember, the most important gift that you can give your family is your time and your attention. This is Chris Leatham with The Economy and You, and I want to thank our guest, George Barrio, for being here. And it was an awesome show, and you just gave us so much wonderful information. Thank you again, and I want to say aloha and have a great